Good morning, everyone, and happy Tuesday, and welcome to our day 9 of our 14-day self-love challenge. So today's challenge is going to be just that. It's going to be a little bit of a challenge, and it's going to be a little bit of a stretch for most of us. Today's challenge is to list 1 or 2 things that you would like to forgive yourself for. And I know that this is going to be a little bit difficult for some of us, but the point of this exercise, like the rest of the exercises and the challenges, is meant to stretch you a little bit. It's meant to allow you to have a real conversation with yourself about something that you're not really comfortable with. The only way that we are going to be growing and are allowing ourselves to grow is that if we get uncomfortable sometimes. And that's not always a great place, and it doesn't always feel good, but it is also a very important part of our growth, because part of loving yourself, there's a healing that comes with that. There's a real conversation that you have to have at some point with yourself to say, you know what, I need to get rid of this clutter. I need to take care of this emotional imbalance that I'm having. And part of that imbalance is forgiveness. Sometimes it's harder to forgive ourselves than it is with somebody else, because with somebody else, you have the option of seeing them or not seeing them, right? So if they're out of sight, out of mind, you can almost put that situation to the side to some extent, not always, but to some extent. But when it comes to self, that's the person you have to see in the mirror every day, and that's the person you have to live with. And forgiveness of self can sometimes just be way harder than forgiving anybody else. Because we are also our own worst critic, aren't we? Nobody can be harder on me than me. Even as all the things that are coming up on the internet, nobody on the internet can say anything worse to me than I've already said to myself at some point in my life. So today's exercise is about forgiveness, is taking that step for yourself to say, you know what, I forgive myself for. Why do we need to forgive ourselves? Well, it allows us to relieve emotional stress within ourselves and also physical stress, because that does bring a sense of physical stress to our bodies. It frees you from the past. It breaks away those chains that you were held on to. And in order for you to move forward, you do need to break those chains, so then that way you can continue to grow and continue to be on your journey and to really serve and to figure out your mission if you haven't already found your mission. We live a happier life, and that allows you to be very present. When we were doing the exercise about being present, that is a very, very important part. Depression is living in the past, right? You keep going over, you keep hitting that replay button, and I coulda, shoulda, why didn't I, how come, and if only things went, and well, only if I could have, and maybe if she would have just said, or if he would have just did. All of those things keep playing back, and this is where forgiveness needs to happen. This is really coming into terms with your past and saying, it happened. It's okay. I forgive myself for, and I forgive him for, and I forgive her for. So there's health benefits to forgiveness also. So it lowers your blood pressure because you're not constantly stressed out, right? It allows you to be less hostile and less angry. You have all of that anger and that hostility built in, and you're holding on to it, and you're literally carrying it like a backpack 24/7. Of course, you're going to be angry sometimes, or most of the time. I've met people who were always angry. Always angry. And it didn't take anything to set them off. It could have just been that the bird flew in from the sky and just landed near them, and that was like, and it was like, okay, how about let's just try to relax. But that's just how they were, because there was a lot that they didn't forgive themselves and other people for. And it also helps with your immune system. So believe it or not, it does help to build a healthy immune system. Our immune system breaks down because of stress. So when you're constantly sick, when you're constantly having all of these issues, it's because your body is stressed out. You can't be healthy on a physical level if your body's always stressed out. So now let's talk about some ways. How can we start to forgive ourselves? What are some ways that we can start doing that? So one of the techniques that I use a lot with my clients is journaling. Journaling is really simple, but yet it's really effective. It's just getting it out. You know what I mean? It's just getting it out on paper. And if you don't ever want to see it again, fine, no problem. Rip out the paper or burn it or rip it or flush it down the toilet. But the nice part about doing that is that when you do that exercise after you've written it down, then you're able to just say, you know what, that's exactly where it went. So if you burned it, that past went into ashes, it's done, it's gone, it's finished. I'm done with it. It's ashes now. And it can blow away with the wind, and I'm done. Connect with spirit. So especially during the most difficult times in your life, turn your pain over to your creator, to your God, to whatever deity you pray to, and allow yourself to be healed. Allow yourself to know that you are worthy to be healed, because we are all worthy of being healed. There is nothing in this world that is so horrible. Well, there's some things. But for most of us, especially in this group, I don't think there's anything that you guys have done that is so horrible that you can't heal from. But there's a lot of pain, and there's a lot of tears and a lot of uncomfortable conversations that we need to have. But in order to get to that place of freedom, sometimes you need to go through these areas. But knowing that you are worthy of that freedom and that healing and that love, because you were brought here for a reason. We all were. We're all here to take care of one another. We're all here to share our light for somebody else. And like me, I've gone through some things in my life, and for a long time I let it chain me down. But I wouldn't be here today speaking and helping whoever if I allowed those chains to keep chaining me down. I wouldn't be able to give you my words. I wouldn't be able to share my light with you if I allowed myself to be dimmed and to be shut down by all of those events that happened to me. I'm using that. I'm using my past. I'm using that pain as fuel, because it's not even pain to me anymore. It's experiences. They were experiences. And when you get to a point in your life where you start changing the dialogue that you're having with yourself and start calling it something different, then things start to shift. Things start to change for you. There's a conversation that I needed to have with myself. It's like, okay, am I still going to own that part of my past? Or am I just going to call it an experience? And what did I learn from it? And how can I help the next person? Because that's the real mission, is helping the next person. I'm sorry if I'm nasally today. I'm fighting whatever bug is trying to get me. Another really good way to work on your forgiveness and your healing is to meditate with a mantra. So I am worthy. I am free. There's a lot of different techniques that you can use. If you are interested in doing this on a deeper level, feel free to DM me and we can set up a consultation and we can have a conversation, and I'll help you. That's what I'm here for, basically. So I'll share 2 things that I forgive myself for, and I work on forgiving myself for pretty much every single day. I forgive myself for the amount of pressure that I put on myself every single day. I need to have this perfection. I need to have, when I have tunnel vision, I know what something needs to be. I can already see the end result. It's getting to that end result that I have a really hard time with. Like, okay, I want it to just be wonderful. Like, I know it's going to be, but there's the baby steps and there's the process of it. My oldest son, wise beyond his years, always goes like this. When he sees that I'm getting stressed out, he always goes like this to me, which means for me to trust the process. That means, Mom, check out your tattoo, read your tattoo. And I'm like, oh, yeah, okay. So it kind of puts me in check, you know? But he's really good about that because, like I said, he's very intuitive as well, and he's very wise beyond his years. And the second thing I forgive myself for every day is self-criticism. I criticize myself. And like I said earlier in the video, there's not a whole lot that any one of you guys can say more about me that I haven't either said about myself or thought about myself or complained about myself at some point, if not now, then in my life. The criticism is different now than it was prior. Now it's more, again, feeling that pressure of where I want to be on a professional level, where I would like to be. I push myself very hard every single day. I work 12, 14 hours a day easy. But that's how I'm built. That's exactly what I like, and that's what pushes me. But because I work so hard, I also expect to see certain results, and I expect to see them at a certain time. But see, there's that word of expectancy that has always been my arch enemy because I expect certain things of myself and my surroundings when it really should just be allow it to play out the way it's supposed to. Like my girlfriend said, let the cake bake. You've done everything now, put it in the oven, just let it bake, let it do its thing. And it's like, okay, I have to be patient, and I have to be wonderful, and I have to be understanding, and I'm getting better at that. But those are the two things that I forgive myself for, pretty much on a daily now. That's one of my mantras. So if you're willing to share, I would love to hear what you're wanting to forgive yourself for. Please remember that this is a closed group, so any posts that are on here are completely private. Nobody else will see them but us. And of course, please respect the privacy of your fellow members here, and so we can all continue to have this as a very sacred space for each other, and a very safe space for each other. You guys are more than welcome to always reach out to me, and we can talk about other techniques for healing. I will see you guys tomorrow for our day 10 of our 14-day self-love challenge, and you guys have an absolute beautiful day. Blessed be.